Thanks for staying with us. So, if you're in Lagos last week Friday, you would have experienced something called heavy rainfall that caused severe flooding in many parts of Lagos metropolis. This flood led to the loss of valuable properties, with many Lagos residents still counting their losses as of this morning. We'll be having with us a special advisor to the governor of Lagos State on drainage and water resources, engineer Joe Igbokwe, very soon. He's almost here. But while we're waiting for him, I'd like the ladies to share their experiences, because all of us experienced Friday. You know how I always have confidence that, listen, only island gets flooded. The mainland is like, you know, that's the
God
reason I can never go to the island, because mainland is high ground. You know, we can never see flooding. Hey,
God not disappointed you.
Ikorodu flooded. I was in my very before, because I was like, what? Because while the rain was pouring, I was like, I can just imagine those guys in Lekki. I feel bad for them. Lekki, imagine what they're going through right now. When I drove out of Maryland and I entered Ikorodu Road, oh my Lord, the cars were just like this. They were floating, they were swimming.
Wow.
I was like, what? Ikorodu mainland flood? I said, this is different. It took me almost 3 hours, 2 hours and about 40 minutes to come from Maryland to Magodo. You know, and obviously lots of video, I mean, even BRT buses got flooded, Marina was flooded. So let me come to talk about, how was your experience?
No, it was not good. It was terrible.
So your car didn't damage, yeah?
No. Okay. It wasn't flood. You know, so I didn't understand the flooding. I had to now go on social media to realize. I just saw the traffic.
So yours was traffic?
It was just the traffic. Okay. A journey, usually getting to my kids' school from my house is like 15 minutes, tops 20 minutes. It took me 4 hours to get to the children's school, like 4 hours in traffic. And I was just like, you know, when you want to now put medicine on death, it was a case of my AC now. You know, the AC stopped working because when I now switch it on, the car would stop. So I had to switch off the AC and they were in traffic. So I was like, AC is not working. We are in traffic. But you are going to be happy. At the point, I was not having muscle pull from brake. And I thought, you're not going to cry. At the point, I started crying. I cleaned my face and myself. I said, you will get to school, your children will be fine. Because I just imagine that the kids will be, they don't have snacks. It's not like we didn't plan. It's 2:30, they will have been at home. And it was already 5 o'clock. I was looking at them and I was like, you know, I cried, cleaned my tears by myself.
You'll be thinking, are the teachers still there?
Yes.
You know, who are they with?
I just really felt very, very bad that, you know, it was just a very terrible experience. When we were going back home, my kid said, you came so late. I said, did you see the traffic? Look at the traffic. Just don't even say anything.
Weren't other parents
There were a lot of there were like over 20 children still waiting in school as at past 6. I got to the school to pick them up at past 6.
Wow.
And I could see even all the teachers are gone. It was like the reception, the 2 ladies at the reception, they were also about to go, because I think they waited till like 6 o'clock that we have tried, you know, before they could go. But it was a really, really terrible traffic, and that's why I didn't drive again. I felt 6 hours of traffic in one day is enough.
Somebody left the house at 2 p.m. He didn't get there till 4:30, so he was a bit even better than you. But he got home 4 hours after. It took him 4 hours to get back home.
So me, I left the show now. We finished 11, right? And that day I came to work with my children.
Oh, I felt
They were all in the car. Thank God for Chin. I always carry snacks. So by the time I came out, a journey that would have taken us 45 minutes to get home, we got home like 4:30. That's from 11 that we left this place. The traffic was, and it was so bad that as we're going on the road, you go this way, a car has stopped. You go that way, a car, you know, on the 2 sides, cars were stopping. The flooding was horrible all through till we got to our destination. A bit, we bless God. We bless God for that, but it was horrible. So my husband called me on the phone, like, baby, there's water inside my car. I said, yeah, where are you? And he explained he was just coming out. And, you know, by the time we got home, had to sun dry the car, started bailing. The drivers were bailing out water from his car. I was feeling really bad for him, you know, but the traffic was just so, everywhere was blocked. On the express, it was flooded. So I had to beg my driver, you have to drive slowly. So we don't, you know, we're fighting different battles right now. And he had to put off the AC at some point, because he, according to his explanation, if the AC is on, it could easily enter the engine and whatever. So we put it off, we put it on. It was a horrible experience. Good. By the time we got home this morning, they said, Mommy, yesterday night, are we following you to work today? I said, no, you people, you need to
stay home. You stay home. Even I had to call them. I said, wait, hey, how are the children? Are they okay in the traffic? Hi, Dima. How was yours?
Fine. Mine was interesting because I was live while it was happening. So I left and the rain started while I was on 3rd Mainland Bridge and it was quite heavy. So I put it on my Instagram live. I had a few people, watching as well. So what I noticed, I've noticed this many times, is that when you're on the road while it is raining, the traffic is usually minimal.
Yeah.
Because once it starts to subside, that you have more cars now coming out.
Yeah.
So the traffic wasn't so bad, but already you could see that places were flooding. Luckily for me was my daughter is still in school, so I had this jacket. All I wanted to do was get to her, because I remember how she dressed to school. Like, God, she needed something warm. So I went to the school and they were like, no, Ma, these jackets, they don't allow them, only school uniform. I said, not in these circumstances. She needs this jacket right now. And they sent it to her, and she was like, thank you, Bobby. It came at the right time, it kept her warm. But there was lots of flooding everywhere. And to see the pictures and the videos later on.
Yeah, so I was going to I saw a WhatsApp message of somebody, I can't remember the name, but he was advising on how to not turn on the car, let the while the water, let the water subside. Okay. Don't just take it to the mechanic.
Tow it
to the mechanic, and then they will now know what to do. But don't even try to start your car while in that condition. So we'll try to also have advice of going around on how to maintain your vehicle.
When the video of the marina, the marina car lot showed up online, and I could see many cars submerged. My thought was just like, while others are crying, some people are going to be smiling. The towing vehicles will be smiling, the mechanics will be smiling, spare part sellers will be smiling, because you need to replace a lot of things in the car. I feel really bad for all those who took their car to work and this had to happen to them.
I
now
was
we
just
need to be considering
where you park.
Insurance. No, you have to consider, you have to insure against everything, because anything can happen and you need to be on the safe side.
I felt really bad for those, because if you look at the parking lots beside these one, this particular one that was flooded, they were fine. So I'm like, can you imagine someone driving? Can you imagine someone driving that morning and thinking, maybe you'll park here today. Maybe the person has never parked there ever before, and then this happens. It's so.
I don't even know that. But I don't know. Well, we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we hope to have the special advisor to the governor on this to help us understand what the government has done concerning drainages. He's a special advisor on drainage and water resources. What can be done? What caused this in the first place, and what can we do to ensure it doesn't happen again? Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I just got information that our guests would not be able to make it. So we'll be opening our phone lines to hear Nigerians share their experiences, especially those of us that lived in Lagos. Now, we know that I'm trying to get the fact that we got warnings from the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency about floods coming this year. And they had even said that what we saw on Friday is just the beginning, that the height of floods, especially down south, is from the peak, is by September. So we should brace up that this is just the beginning. I know last year they warned us about 200 and something. We didn't see it, so we thought that this year was going to. So this is almost like the start of many to come. So in your view, what can we begin to do? I would have loved to have a government official here tell us how, because we know it's not just in Nigeria. This flood happens around the world. Yeah. So it's not a Nigerian thing, it's not a Lagos thing. It's a mother nature, right? But what can we do as citizens, do you think, to mitigate or to help ourselves not be victims of these kind of situations?
So my fear was that when we heard the story that happened, the flooding that happened in Germany, in London, my fear is that Nigerians and Nigerian leaders are going to say, well, as you can see, it's a global issue. It's not about Nigeria or the leaders not doing what they're meant to do. But it's important for us to note, especially in Lagos, that it's not just a climate change issue. It's the fact that we're not disposing of our waste properly. We're clogging our drainages with all sorts of plastic. When you see some of the pictures, once that place is flooded, you see the amount of plastic just floating on top of the water. So you can imagine, why places like this will flood. And then we have issues of drainages. We have so much construction going on. I was talking to Nima also over the weekend, and she was talking about her area, the flooding, and like most of the construction going on. So you see roads, they will put stones, to create roads, but the rain has come and pulled everything away. The bitumen is gone. Everywhere is blocked because of this thing. So for us, and I think our problem is the easy one. The climate change is a huge one, but the easy one is that we need to create those drainages. We need to clear those drainages. We need to do better as individuals, but our government also needs to do better in enforcing, the policies. We need to make sure that we have people stationed, we have systems stationed to clear those places and ensure that people are not clogging the places up. We need Loma in Lagos to do his job, especially in some of those areas where they've complained over and over again that waste is just left there for months and months on end, no one's clearing them. So that's what we need to start doing.
All right, let me take this call from Olabi. He's been holding for a while. Olabi, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think the government has to do a lot of things on this flood season here in Lagos. Now, Loma is not active. Not active. As for my estate now, okay, you coming once in a month is not ideal. And you came at the end of the day, charging duplex 2005. Secondly, one thing that we have to understand, when you pack the hotels out to play the game from the local government, you abandon it there. Why when they take that on Friday, you couldn't get access to my estate, not to talk of the front of my house. So I wish you can just call the special advisor. Let us know what is going on this flood. It's really getting out of hand there in Lagos.
Right. Thank you.
It's a global issue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Olabi. So we know the parts, but just like let me echo what Mariam said. Yes, we know the parts of government, certainly. But it's always good for us to always remind ourselves too. We are culpable. We are culpable in this also because we throw out our trash. We don't even keep it. My God, people just throw waste. They don't bag it.
No.
Just throw it away. So when the floods come, it falls over and then it clogs up the drainages. BC, your thoughts on this?
So I think we need to understand that this is a tropical area, especially those of us who live in this side of the country. And there's nothing we can do about natural occurrences like the flood. They've told us right now that the dams will be opening very soon so that they don't, burst open. So they have to release water. So we should be expecting, especially in September, more floodings to happen. And one of the things I notice is the drainages are beginning to work. So we're not seeing as much, but they are working because immediately after the rains, if you go around now, you don't see water anymore. It goes. So if the drainages aren't working, you will still have water till today. Right. But the waters, immediately the rains stop and the flooding, for a few hours, they just drain away. So government needs to give us more drainages. Government needs to pay attention to drainage system so that when the floods come, we can't avoid the flooding. But when it comes, once the rain stops, it just goes away and we can go back to our normal lives. And also, Miriam has also mentioned that we need to play our own part by making sure that we dispose our waste properly. But in terms of avoiding flood, I think we should just prepare our hearts for it. It will come. This is the season.
Let me take this call from Chief Bright from Owerri. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I'm Chief Bright from Owerri, Imo State.
Yes, go ahead. You are live.
Yeah, I want to first and foremost commend you here in Imo State, Owerri in particular. We enjoy your program. I'm a first-time caller today.
Wow.
So, what do we do? How can we help to make sure that this your program you add 1 or 2 hours? Because we enjoy your program so much. A program of beautiful lady, highly intelligent. So what do we do? Tell me just now. I am talking. Keep it up. I love you so much. Thank you very much.
Just write to our CEO and add money to it.
We'll do 5 hours for you, sir.
All right, so coming
talk
to you.
about the fact that Lagos, like right from when I was in primary school, I was told that Lagos is largely below sea level. Like that was a norm. We were taught that most of Lagos is below sea level, which means that if anything happens, a lot of Lagos will get flooded naturally. Number 2, over time, climate change has eroded most of Bar Beach. Because I remember when I used to go to Bar Beach, like when you from the road, you're still walking like a kilometer before you get to where there is water, and then you descend beneath to get to where there is water. And I see Babich now, like I see the water just by the
Very
tag
close.
road.
But there's Atlantic.
You know, and over time, that's like reclaiming land. So we already know that naturally Lagos is under threat of being overtaken by water. Then compounded with the issue of our lack of planning effectively for the challenges we know we'll face, now puts Lagosians at that crossroad of how unfortunate can we be that we're in this place at this time. So I think that we cannot, targeting this issue would involve multifaceted solutions to the problem, and it must be done concurrently at the same time.
Okay, let me take this call from Dipo from Idimu. Are you there?
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I think the problem in Lagos State now is overwhelmed by this 52 local governments we have. This local government cannot do anything, then the state government cannot do much.
Hello, Dipo? Hello? Oh, I really wanted to hear his point.
So I was saying something, Murayo, about the roads. Whenever we're clearing drainages within Lagos, we see it all the time. Most of the drainages are cleared, are packed out, and put by the head of the road with the expectation that they would bring in the bigger trucks to take it off. But there's no speed in implementation of that process. I know for a fact that there are places in the past, last week, that I drove past and they did not pack those things. And with the rain that just happened, everything is back into the drainages. So it must, all hands must be on deck.
Yeah.
Everybody from the local government level, it must work together. If not, we will not see much. It will just get worse.
From reviewing the videos that we've seen and where the flooding came. So, for example, the parking lots in Marina, what can be done to raise it? What can go? Is it government's responsibility? Is it the park owners? What do you do to ensure that that place, yes, flooding will happen, but you put enough drainages? Because now we've seen the spots where can be easily flooded. Can we begin to have a plan towards ensuring that next time this flood happens, maybe next month, we do something, either make bigger drainages or raise some of these places for
something that
parkings.
can be done as is happening.
Right.
That particular lot, as I mentioned earlier when we were talking, is that in between other lots that were not flooded. So obviously there's a drainage issue concerning that. So something has to be done. You cannot, there's some things that you don't have to wait a month or a week. You do it just immediately. But I think what's so problematic about us is that we talk about this every year. You know, we even laugh amongst ourselves when we say, oh, is the time of the year again? Is the same story? In fact, this morning, when they were showing all the videos and things, the TV stations even repeat the pictures and the videos from many years before. Because it's just the same thing, the same information. People are able to say, are you sure it's this year? This looks like the car from last year. Because the same thing. And honestly, we do not see any improvement. I don't know where BC saw her own improved drainages. Kudos on you, but
the water's left.
I know, but I'm just saying that for many of us, it's just the same issue. The same
I think we still have the colors.
The same areas were flooded. Another thing, it could just be that the water was not as much. If it was 2 to 3 days water, it would have not.
Okay, let me take this call from Joel. Joel, are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Murayo. Good morning, Tope, and the crew.
Morning.
My name is Joel from Odogunyo in Ikorodu, Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you, sir.
This is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
So I want to comment concerning the flood situation in Lagos. I believe the major problem, we Nigerians are the problem of Nigeria. So I think the people on the LCDAs at the local level should really enforce. People are really dumping refuse in drainages across the state. And Loma should stop sweeping. They should reduce the way they sweep. They should concentrate more on those drainages. If during the dry season they concentrate on clearing all these drainages, even if there's flood, it will be reduced. But they keep sweeping and sweeping as if they are sweeping the houses. The public space, they should focus more Flood is a problem in Lagos.
Thank you. Let me come back to Miriam. I'll come to you, but let me come because I know you're into environmental sustainability and all that. And I mean, everybody has a role to play.
Yeah.
I mean, so how can we bring the idea of recycling in this? What can we do, in your view? What must we do to support the government? Because the government can't do it alone. There has to be somebody, industries, manufacturers have to come and say, okay, I can use this waste. I can do something with this plastic. I can do something. What can we do to support government?
I think first thing, what I notice is that we must stop making it an Oyinbo culture thing and then find our local language and make it accessible. The language has to be accessible to Nigerians. I think Nigerians understand it, but when we talk about environmental sustainability, all of a sudden, these English-speaking people will just come out. So it's none of my business. But if we find local ways to educate them, to let them understand why what you're doing, what plastic how it will eventually affect you, your farms, the flooding will eventually affect where you stay in your local languages. And then the things that you can recycle that are local to you. So you already have paint buckets that you use. Many people use them for other things, you know. But if that language is not local and the issues and the methods, you know, and the solutions are not local to people, then it will seem like this is not something I should involve myself.
Yeah, so there's something we do when you're building a place, especially when you're in Lagos. One of the things some of the landlords and developers do, I'm sure Tokbe will know this, is to ensure that they raise their homes or their compounds or their streets.
They call it piling or something.
Yeah, so they layer it with sand, granite and all of that, raise it way above so that when flooding and things like this happen, it doesn't get into the place. So there are some streets you go to with all this flooding that's happening, you don't see that water. That's what they need to do in that park. And I also need to say that I think our educational sector is not doing enough in terms of educating people on what they can do with waste. We have people who go to school who study all of these things. This is the time that we need their brain to tell us. All over the world, especially in Africa, people are beginning to find ways to use waste to generate gas, to generate electricity. Little places, or you put them in plastic buckets. If you go to YouTube, you see the videos, plastic buckets, and they can generate power for their own homes. So I'm not even waiting on government right now.
People oppose this.
Yes.
Because governments are their priority
so
level.
I think individuals also need to start. Don't wait for governments. We know governments will tell you there are a lot of things. They are looking for money here and there. Find ways to use the waste around your place to create something. That way you can use it.
I think Tokwe, remember when
final thoughts, Tokwe, we have to run.
My just a last comment would be that if everyone sweeps the front of their house, the street will be clean. So everybody take care of your immediate environment, and then we'll see improvement all around.
That's all we can take on that. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.